everybody. This is Henry Ski at RingPartner. Absolutely thrilled that we could co-brand here and have Raj Patel present some tips and tricks on pay-per-call marketing. I know many of you have already taken his course or heard about his course. He's a leading expert in digital strategy and implementation, been in the industry for nearly a decade, works directly with all the big dogs, Twitter, Facebook, Google, top-tier creative agencies, and now he wants to share that expertise with you and tell you how you can make that work, of course, with RingPartner offers. And I forgot to mention this on the write-up for the webinar. He's a hell of a nice guy. So, Raj, thank you so much for joining us here today. I'll let you get on to your presentation in just a minute here. Want to let everybody know that this will be recorded and put on our YouTube channel, so look out for that. As well, if you have any questions, make sure to add them in the questions tab. I'll look through them and filter them to Raj at the end of his presentation. So hope everybody can hear and see us okay. And Raj, once again, thanks for joining us, and over to you.
All right, well, thank you for having me. This is an excellent opportunity. You know, I've been with RingPartner for quite a while, and you know, I never thought actually I'd be here today, being one of your presenters on one of these webinars. So this is actually fantastic.
Awesome. No, we're happy, really happy you reached out, and of course happy to have you. And who knows, maybe some of our attendees might do their own webinar one day.
Maybe. So I can tell you a little bit about myself and maybe a little bit about my experience. I've been in affiliate marketing for it was like over 10 years. Started off with traditional affiliate marketing, as many, but as time progressed, I realized the regular affiliate marketing, promoting other people's products, was a little more challenging. And then, you know, I did discover pay-per-call about 5 years ago, and you know, it was completely different type of thinking when you're going to market. But you can use a lot of the tactics you've learned as an affiliate marketer, as a marketer in general, and how you apply it to capture calls instead of clicks. And you know, over 5 years, I've experimented with all different types of media, and like you mentioned, working directly with Facebook and Google, really learning a lot from them. And 5 years later now, I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. I've gone through a lot of cash, of course, because you know, you have to spend to learn. Right. But you know, if I would be lying if I said I didn't. You know, I didn't spend a lot of money to learn everything I did today. But the reason why I made my course, for example, is that all my learnings are in there. So, you know, people who do sign up and people who do want to learn about pay-per-call can start way ahead from where I was. And there's a lot of space out there. A lot of people ask me, you know, why are you sharing all these secrets and your tactics? Because there's tons of space out there. It's an untapped market. And people that are successful pay-per-call, people who do promote it, really know that it's something amazing. So hopefully, you know, today we can inspire some people and answer some questions.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Raj. I mean, it's a really big pie, and there's a reason that a lot of the communities, you mentioned a couple of forums before we started the webinar here, I would say a lot of the top dogs, the ones that really make it work, both share and receive shared information in order to make it work. The internet moves by way too quickly to get on top of everything at all times. So I think that's a sort of a real credit to our industry that, you know, sharing this kind of information usually works out for almost everybody.
Yeah, and one of the biggest factors is the growth of mobile. So I know it's old news that mobile is growing. It's eclipsing, you know, desktop traffic. It's like right at the cusp now. And with that comes hand in hand of pay-per-call. You know, click to call, it's right there at a touch of the fingertips. So rather than going to a site, filling out a form, the call is just much more value to the customer. And us as a marketer, it's more value to us. So
fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know, how else do you want to proceed with this? Do you want to go into questions, or?
Let's leave questions at the end, Raj. One of my first questions I would say is, let's take probably one of our more typical publishers is someone that has experience in CPA but not pay-per-call. What would you say is probably the biggest hurdle to overcome in order for them to make it work? Because they're the same, but they're at the same time totally different beasts.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the biggest hurdles is, you know, understanding the technology and the usage of what you want the customer to do.
Right.
A lot of typical CPA is not urgent. Example, home services. You know, if we're talking about plumbing repair or locksmith. For those kind of CPA, it doesn't work, and you don't have that mentality of how that customer's thinking. But when it comes to pay-per-call, you know that you need a mobile-friendly landing page. It has to load quick. It has to have big buttons with the phone number clearly on there, so it's tap to call, making it super easy for them to make that call and hopefully for us to get that conversion. Unlike with CPA, you're thinking about maybe sales funnels and you think about email lead capture forms and things like that. That was kind of the hurdle for me, I would say, and for others. But it's actually much simpler. The whole scenario of the customer journey is a little more simpler with pay-per-call than it is with CPA and lead gen type scenarios.
Right. No, it makes total sense. I find it's beneficial to kind of delve into the psychology of a potential caller. So kind of put yourself in their shoes. Would you feel comfortable with your pipes blowing up or bursting at home? Oh, I'm going to go fill out a form that's going to take me, 4 minutes, and I got to put in my social insurance. No, you're not going to do that. I mean, the urgency is what I love, and that's the benefit of click to call. And Raj, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I know, click to call obviously is working out really, really well, but the caller doesn't see the landing page. What are you seeing in terms of strategies that people are employing towards landing pages? Is it still vital to have a really catchy landing page, or is it sort of being phased out because of click to call?
Well, it really depends on, like, click to call is only right now through only Google.
Right.
But what I typically do is use click to call and still run regular ads for really niche or different type of scenarios, because sometimes you'll get cheaper CPCs, as well as, that's where your landing page comes into effect. So you can really influence your quality score and getting that cheaper click that you may not get through the call only ad unit. But so I believe landing pages are still important, but your quick go-to-market strategy is using call only, because you don't have to really develop a full-blown landing page. You can make a really small one just for the approval process. But yeah, landing pages are still important, and thinking of that the way the customer is thinking is very important. I talk a lot about that in my course. Is understand the customer you're trying to target and what's their need. So someone who's looking for a lawyer may not need the click to call may not really convert for them. They may need more education in the product, right, or in the service. So a nice landing page explaining the professional lawyers, the fees, and whatever's happening, then they might convert. Versus a broken pipe, like, I need a plumber now, so I don't care about all the details. I need someone now. So that's a click to call kind of thing. So
cool.
It's understanding that is really important when you're building your strategy and how you're going to market.
Cool. Raj, we'll go over a couple of main points, and then we'll get on to some questions, because we've already got some really good ones. In terms of keyword research, what tips would you have for our partners that want to really get going on pay-per-call? But obviously paid search is very competitive, and organic can be tough to get to the top of the page. What have you found in terms of pay-per-call? What works? What doesn't work? How do you do your research?
So it depends on a lot of the offers. Like, a lot of offers that RingPartner has are US wide.
Right.
So, and some do have the list of only certain cities and states. But there's two tactics I usually do. I usually do it like a generic layer search. So doing really high level search, whether if it's branded or non-branded, if it's allowed, and then going local. So going local is really important, especially for the home services category, and even in the lawyer category, to be honest, in the legal advice category, because people typically are looking for those services in their area. So, and that's where you find those pockets that are cheap CPC, very low competition, because a lot of the big brands that you're competing against are doing nationwide or maybe statewide and have bigger budgets, but they're not focusing on the smaller cities and that. So that's where you can win in that space. But for this keyword research part, I use some free tool. Like, I use Uber Suggest. It's really good because it's pretty up to date, right, with real-time search of what people are looking for. But then I also use a pretty strong paid tool, SEMrush, so to check out my competitors. And stealing keywords from my competitors is the best thing to do. If you see if they're having an ad at the top rank for a long time, right, it must be converting. So replicate it. And then, you bid underneath them. You can maybe outbid them at times, but you can get a lot of learnings from top-tier competitors that you can get in really cheap. Like, they may be paying $4 for that top spot. You can get down if the gap is small, like, you might be able to get underneath there for $1 if there's no other competitors there. So
wow, that's awesome. And I mean, like you said, they're up there for a reason. And somebody might take a look and be like, oh, they're obviously bidding so much, there's no way I could get there. But if so many people think that, then maybe no one actually ends up trying that, right? That's really interesting.
You might be the only bidder.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Raj, tell me a little bit about how you target ads. One of the points we mentioned in the invitation was ad targeting for high conversions and low CPCs. I would say one of the biggest challenges our partners have initially is sort of that initial test where they just won't make a profit, usually on their first couple calls or on their first week of running traffic. How do you combat that, and do you have any strategies that our partners can employ?
So the people that sign up to the pay-per-call exposed course, or even the full campaign setup service I have, I always tell them, you can't think short-term. This is a business you want to build.
Right.
Yes, this is your first offer maybe you're running, maybe you're brand new to pay-per-call. I always say, set the expectation your first week you're going to have a loss of money. You're going to lose money. But what you're doing is you're paying for data. So, example, if I was running one of the general legal campaign offer that you guys have, if I ran that for a week and I lost money, okay, fine. But what I'm doing is I'm gathering data. So I know now now I know everybody, all the keywords they searched. I know my impression ratios. I can check my competitors, so I know where there's a ton of competitors. So forget it, I'm not going to buy there.
Right.
You get a lot of learning. So then the secret is, after you get that data, you've paid for that data, so you better use it. Optimize the data that you find. Dig deep into the Google Analytics reporting tool, or Google AdWords reporting tool, and you can find great nuggets in there. And you take your keyword list from 100 keywords next week down to maybe 10 or 15, right? And get those 10, 15 rocking. And once you get those going good, or maybe it might go down to 5, you leave those 5, and now you add another bunch of keywords again, and you keep doing that. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a keyword-rich list that's very profitable for you that will self-run. Like, I'm big on, having it set up, spending the time, and then letting it run, and just monitoring after that and move on to the next offer. So that's really how I try to teach it, because we don't want to be sitting there watching it all the time. We want, we're doing this so we can get a little bit of financial freedom, a little back time in our lives. But you have to be a diligent marketer, and you still got to watch what you're doing.
It's a brilliant way of looking at it, Raj. I forget who said it. Maybe it was Edison or someone, but I forget. But they said, I haven't failed. I've just found a way that doesn't work. So it's such a much better way of looking at it. I mean, number one, I will tell all our partners, most of our top partners, they've all lost money on campaigns. Everybody that has done this successfully has had a campaign go belly up, or initially they weren't making money. But you're right, they're paying for data. They're paying for a way that they know doesn't work. If they have a giant list of 500 keywords, how the hell are you going to know what to use, right? And so you're eliminating, a process of elimination. It's just a brilliant way of looking at it. I really like that attitude.
At the beginning, I didn't follow that attitude. Obviously, this came from learning. At the beginning, I would run a campaign for maybe 2-3 weeks, and I might have lost money in the first 1 or 2 weeks because I didn't start optimizing quick enough.
Right.
And then I said, forget it, I'm dropping it, and I stopped using it. And let alone a year later, I go to run the campaign again, and this time I follow a new process, and I made it profitable. And so now I look at it and said, oh my God, I lost a whole year of profit, right? Because I bailed too early. And so many people bail too early. They quit too early.
Understood. No, that's great, Raj. So much good stuff in here. We're going to have to, guys, keep the questions coming. We'll try and get through them all. One last one before we get on to the questions. Facebook, Raj, just massive. I mean, there's, I think, about 1 billion Facebook mobile app users. We've got a couple of things coming down the pipeline. What's your opinion on Facebook for pay-per-call?
So Facebook is super exciting for me. I'll give out one really good secret nugget. I can call it secret because a lot of people don't know about it that are signing up to my course, which I'm surprised about. Even myself, I only discovered it in the last year. But so Facebook has an ad unit for click-to-call. So a lot of people before were trying to hack a code into their normal Facebook ad units, so it does an automatic tap-to-call, but doesn't always work. Facebook has a click-to-call function, and it's only available when you select when you go to ads and you select local ads. So if you select local ads, you're going to you'll have an option to make a call button on there. So what this does is, now think about it. Now you can target, if you're running the offer to seniors. The one RingPartner has the stair climber thing. I forgot what it's called. But what I would recommend is, now you can target seniors who are retired, right, at a certain age group, female, male, and you can make you're hyper targeting. Right, and especially seniors are great because they haven't been abused to advertising like people of our age group or younger. Right. Right. Who see an ad and say, "Oh, that's just an ad." Like people like my parents, they see those ads and they're clicking it and they're calling and they're doing whatever because they're not so prone to the ad abuse, let's call it. But you can target your customers so hyper-target now, and the CPCs are super low because hardly anybody's using those click-to-calls. You know who's using those? Is small local businesses, right? And so huge market there, and I tell a lot of people to look into that. And in my course, actually, that's one of the ones I really do is a step-by-step walkthrough on how to set it up and how to get approved quickly, because it's a gold mine and it's untapped.
Would you say, Raj, at this point, thank you so much, by the way. This is I'm so glad we're recording this because I would have forgotten about 10 things I already wrote down here. Let's get on to the questions. And Raj, this is kind of a sort of a tag on to the one you just mentioned. Our first one is, what do you think the best performing channel for generating phone calls is? Does it depend on the vertical? I know we already discussed that a little bit, but right now, would you say Facebook in terms of untapped potential?
Yeah, for potential and least amount of competition would be Facebook, because okay, you'll have the best use of your dollars because you can target exactly who you want.
Very cool. And of course, it like we talked about a little bit before, it probably does matter. It probably does depend on the vertical. For stuff that's super urgent, like plumbing or tow truck, someone's probably just going to do a Google search. But something like maybe beautifying your lawn or the roof, that's going to sort of pop into people's minds when they're looking through their news feed and being like, oh yeah, I should replace the roof. I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Cool. Raj, our next question is, what does Raj use for Leadpages click-to-call?
So for my landing page or Leadpages, I make my own. I don't use Leadpages service or Unbounce. They're good services. I just don't. I make my own always. So I have my own. I use this template that's converted so well for me across multiple verticals that it's the one I use all the time.
Cool. Cool. Raj, this is kind of a hard question, so I hope I'm not sort of throwing you under the bus here. Why are you so handsome? No, sorry, that was one from me. What are the best industries and niches in like the middle market, so not SBA or enterprise level, that might need pay-per-call, that maybe people haven't thought of yet or aren't sort of taking advantage of yet? Anything that might come to mind?
What do you mean by that exactly?
I'm not sure. Gentleman who asked that question, if you could elaborate, that would be awesome. In terms of, I guess, maybe industries that are late to the party, in my opinion, a lot of our requests might come from something like the entertainment industry. Fridays we find call volume dips because people aren't really working on errands Friday afternoon. They're looking to have fun. They're looking to book restaurants and things like that. So I mean, restaurants, I guess, would always be, they always seem to lag behind a little bit in terms of taking advantage of marketing channels. But any thoughts there, Raj?
Well, the other vertical I think that the industry is behind is plumbing, actually, or that whole plumber electrician segment.
Sure.
Because they're obviously making very good money per transaction, and but their marketing they're not focused on marketing, right? Just like the restaurant industry. So I do find that they're lagging behind, but that's where us marketers can come in and really take advantage of that.
Cool. So again, lots of really good questions, guys. Thanks very much. We'll keep it going here. Raj, do you have an opinion on maybe how much someone should spend on their first week to get that data? And obviously it depends on everybody's budget, but is there sort of a point where you should say, kind of turn around and go back and say, okay, I'm going to cut my losses here?
It's a tough question. People always ask me, how much money do I need to start?
Yeah.
And really, there's multiple factors, like what vertical, like doing, appliance repair versus find a lawyer, much different, right? CPCs, competition. But, you have to come in mind with a decent budget that you're willing to lose. Right, in the sense that you're going to lose it because you're going to gain data, that you will progress, you will use it and progress forward. But in a week, if I were talking about a week, I would allocate at least $200 for the week.
200.
If I was generally speaking, which I normally don't, but $200 a week for testing would be good.
Awesome. Raj, what do you think converts better, toll-free or local numbers? Because I know there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, I've done a lot of testing with that between the local and toll-free. So the local one, like when you're targeting a city, like lawyers in Florida, for example,
right,
or lawyers in Miami, for example, then I would show a Miami number. You just get a better conversion because people think it's local, like it's right around the corner. And when I'm doing like either a statewide type of promotion, then I would do the 1-800. Also thinking about people people's perception that it might be a long distance call might be an issue too. So that's why local sometimes converts better for those really niche local markets.
Cool.
Yeah.
Raj, we just had this question come in just 2 seconds ago. I got to ask it. Talk to me a little bit about brands, if you could, just because it, particularly with us, we do have a small amount of brands, but they're quite strong. So we just launched an AT&T offer. Raj, how do you feel about using, landing pages? Would you use them with a branded offer, or would you just go straight to click to call?
I would, again, it always depends on the offer. So for the AT&T example, I would probably make a landing page, because in AT&T you're going to want to explain what that service bundle package is possibly,
right,
or what the saving story is, because give the customer back value. If you did AT&T call only, you're probably going to get existing customers. You might get some existing customers because they're just looking for customer service, or they might be, customer support. So really bring back value to the customer, so the right customer's calling you. It's a shopper looking to buy AT&T services.
I totally agree. I talk a lot about priming the caller before they call in, because the last thing we want is the call to start, oh, I'm just getting some information. We've kind of already failed a little bit, right? And I know it's really hard to get, basically an encyclopedia's worth of information in a couple of lines. But yeah, that's the last thing we want. We want callers to be very confident and comfortable calling in, before they're already talking to somebody, so we don't waste the buyer's time, and so you're more likely to get that conversion. So yeah, no, it totally makes sense. We've still so many questions, guys. We got about 8 more minutes, and then we'll try and wrap it up here. But Raj, let's go back to local. And I know a lot of our home service campaigns, we recommend running locally. For you, Raj, do you treat a local campaign differently, or if you've got a campaign that's nationwide, do you tend to focus on smaller cities or bigger cities? What's your approach there?
Depends on the offer. I like smaller cities, if I were generally speaking, because the smaller cities are untapped. And I found a couple of small cities, like there's no bidders. So I was paying maybe $3-4 a click in other medium-sized cities or typical cities. I'd be paying half that in a city that's just in the vicinity, but nobody's bidding on. So really, those smaller cities I think are untapped in the area to focus on.
Totally. I don't think there's necessarily like a golden number. I've told people basically, 28,000. I mean, you don't really want to target sort of people in the sticks, right? Just because we'll receive a lot of calls saying, well, I'm not going 50 miles or driving an hour and a half to go, turn on your lights for you. So that's important to understand too. But also, Raj, is it important to, and again, I could be totally out to lunch here. This is my own question. How important is it to research that local market before you run that ad? Like, do you want to throw in sort of like, knowledge that only locals would know, like about like maybe an eatery or a recent, storm or political stuff? Is that important at all, or do you just want to stick to the core services?
What I do is for seasonal items, I do that. So, example, we're talking about lawn care, right? Or roofing even. But lawn care, for example, would be great. Like if you know in certain areas that the weather's really warm, right. Example, where you are, it's warm. Where I'm at, it's not.
Yeah.
So then I would build ads and spend to that. Like that they've had a full sunny street, like a full sunny week. That weekend, people are going to be out gardening and doing stuff outside, especially now because people have been home inside all day. They want to get out, start gardening, get everything properly, get everything nice. It's great to start targeting that. So if you knew what the weather conditions were like, even a lot of people, what they do is they'll even find out the cities where there's a lot more higher income people.
Okay.
So people with disposable income, and you can target them as well.
That's very smart. They're way more likely to work on their house, do renovations, get their lawn, nice and perfect for the summer. Yeah, no, I totally hear you. Raj, I hope you're okay with all these questions. We're kind of going rapid fire here. Perfect.
No problem. It's awesome.
Raj, are you using short video in your landers? This partner is thinking about trying that as a split test to see how it converts against the image or text-only landers. So yeah, what's your opinion on videos?
I haven't tested out videos personally, but the thing with videos, it'd be great if you had an explainer video for a very expensive type offer. Like we have some of the legal offers that our RingPartner has, for example, that need a little bit more education. I think rather than reading a bunch of content, if there was someone on camera looking like a lawyer, speaking like a lawyer, I think that would be actually excellent with a big click to call button underneath at the bottom. That's actually a very good idea.
I hear you. Yeah, it adds some legitimacy. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
little bit more in depth in terms of, yeah, like you said, sort of the agents are a little bit more critical of the calls with legal or something like rehab or mass tort or something like that. So yeah, I would say that's a good way because then you're sort of verbally reassuring them that they've come to the right place. Here's all the information. And if they look and sound official, then yeah, that could help out their conversion rate for sure. And I'll just advance warning, guys, I can't do that. You do not want me on your landing page. Trust me. Um, Raj, do you use any paid tools to spy ads of competitors? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier I use SEMrush. So
SEMrush.
SEMrush has been.
Perfect.
I was one of the guys who signed up for the free version for a bit, and I realized this is an amazing tool, and the paid version is awesome. It is pricey, but it's worth it. There's more than spying on the competitors there. Great keyword research in there as well.
Cool. Cool. All right, Raj, we just got a couple more questions, and then we will head out. If we're using broad match modifiers, then why would we need keyword research over Uber suggest? Is one of the questions.
So with the broad match is almost like I treat it when I'm setting up a campaign as my my captured all, because I can see what the customer's intent is, because I can see after I get the data I can see exactly what they typed in to trigger my ad.
Okay.
The only thing is that because it does cast somewhat of a wide net, but still constrained. The challenge is that you always still want to do keyword research and not use that, because that's solely based on budget. So if you're not spending a ton of money, you're not going to get that much data. So I wouldn't only do that. I would do that, plus I would do Uber Suggest, which is capturing a really wide amount of keywords. You don't want to miss out on any learning opportunities just because of budgetary reasons.
Right. Awesome. All right, guys, last question here. If you've got any others, make sure to put them in now. Otherwise, we're going to head out soon. But Raj, this is a really cool question, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. So Google recently removed the sidebar ads. So now it's just straight down the middle. What do you think about this? Is this going to make it, like campaign like plumbing? Is that going to be way more competitive to get calls?
It's going to be a little more competitive, but they actually put a fourth spot. So now there's 4 listings instead of 3. So especially in the mobile platform, but yeah, they did squeeze out that other rail just because it wasn't performing well. Nobody actually clicked. Like I've never even clicked on an ad on that side.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna bump up the competition a little bit because everybody's fighting for 4 spots now. Typically, if you think about it, everybody was always originally fighting for those spots. So I don't think that's gonna be that much of a change.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, that looks like that's all the time we have for now for questions. Raj, thank you so much for sharing just a small portion of your expertise. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about the program Pay Per Call Exposed and what our listeners could benefit from for joining us here today?
Sure. So yeah, so I developed paypercallexposed.com, and it is Pay Per Call, of course, for either a newbie or someone who's well versed in Pay Per Call. Everything's based off 2016 data, so 2015, 2016 is very recent. I do complete walkthroughs of how to set up, going from how do I get approved at RingPartner to at the end of the day, I'm a rock star and I'm killing it, how to ask RingPartner for more money. So it goes through the whole thing, landing pages, keyword research, everything. And one thing I pride myself on is that, and I'm sure some of my customers who are actually watching can vet, is that I'm always there to help. It does include 3 weeks of Pay Per Call coaching, but even if it's outside of that, you can email me anytime, and I'm here to help. I would love to have people tell me their success stories, so I'm here to help them with that. And then the second part is I have complete campaign setup. So some people that don't have time to set up campaigns, I have a service here to set up campaigns, but as well on the site, I have videos, educational videos, and a bunch of tips and how-tos that are free. So you can go there and take a look. You can see the whole training course for free, actually. There's a free preview, so go take a look. paypercallexposed.com. And one thing I am having today for RingPartner and for everybody watching, till the end of May, there's a 20% discount. So if you go to the site and you go to Purchase Access, you can use RP20, and it'll give you 20% off the course.
Awesome. That sounds like a really, really good deal to me, Raj. So yeah, guys, once again, 20% off until the end of May. Check out Pay Per Call Exposed, and of course this video will be made available on our university channel very soon. So once again, Raj, thanks so much for joining us here today. Again, guys, yeah, you would be very wise to check out his program. He offers a lot of coaching that we can't provide over here at RingPartner, but you know what we do have, which is great service and great campaigns. So look for some of our more recent branded stuff like AT&T and home services, like Raj mentioned, just blowing up on Facebook. So check that out. Give us a call at 888-656-3726. Extension 222. Of course, you can email me, Henry, at RingPartner. Follow us on Twitter, at RingPartner. We'll have the call out tomorrow, and thankfully, I won't be working out during it, so I won't be out of breath every 2 seconds. But that about does it, guys. Thanks again for joining. Raj, great seeing you. Great talking with you, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
All right, take care.